In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. We are in the Silver Bullet mobile podcast studio in the great state of Oregon, out in the eastern part of it. And the magic of Starlink makes this happen. Today we have a thought leader and a unique character whose approach to business strategy innovation has reshaped the way organizations unlock potential. Alan Gregerman is an acclaimed consultant, author, and speaker, recognized for helping companies discover the genius in their teams. His latest book, The Wisdom of Ignorance, challenges conventional thinking around innovation and offers valuable insights for navigating uncertainty. Alan's experience encompasses over 250 media features and a dedication to empowering the next generation through technology and education. Join me as we delve into his wealth of knowledge and uncover strategies that can elevate your approach to marketing and innovation. Alan, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. It looks like you're in a nicer place than I am, but delighted to be with you.
Well, I sure appreciate the vision of impacting the new generations that are coming on board, because it's probably as uncertain of a time as you and I have seen in our lifetimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I look at our grown kids and their world is really different, less connected, maybe, a little bit more remote, a little bit more using tools like AI, which isn't a bad thing. But I worry at times that folks miss a bit of the human connection. And so I'd like them to kind of partner with all the tools they have, but also hang out with humans.
Well, that is also one of my prayers, is that these AI tools are bringing us into a time when we can have a second renaissance, right? Where the machines are doing the work that we need to take care of our survival and our professional survival, and we get to be the creative forces of the world. What do you think about that?
Well, so I think, yeah, and creative forces of the world. So I always like to say that, and I use AI all the time, but I use AI just to spark my thinking or provide information to me. But I believe as humans, we need to still connect the dots. I think when we talked earlier, I mentioned this notion I have, and that is that it's what I call the 99% rule, that 99% of all new ideas are based on someone else's thinking, or, to look at your backdrop, something found in nature. The reality is a lot of the people listening have a lot of products, and maybe your coat has Velcro in it. Velcro wasn't discovered by guys in a lab. It was a guy walking his dog through the mountains, and he noticed these things stuck to him. So I think what happens is we can get all this insight from lots of different places, and AI can be a resource. But then I think as humans, we need to bring our unique kind of our secret sauce to the equation and say, this goes with this and that goes with that, and look at ideas that already exist and put them together in ways that are different. And think of AI as kind of a canvas that helps us to do this, not to solve all of our problems, but to make us smarter and more informed so we can do more brilliant things.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the AI is an unbelievable tool. And the idea of being able to build these knowledge repositories, whether you call them custom GPTs or gems or whatever, but that you have these knowledge repositories, and then you're able to work with it in order to further your own thinking, is really probably the most powerful thing that you can do.
Yeah, but I don't want people to stop thinking. I've spent my entire career being fortunate enough to work with a wide variety of people. And what's energizing to me is that they bring creativity and energy and real problems. And so let's partner with tools we can use that provide us some insight, but that make us better at thinking differently about the problems we face.
Yeah. Well, talk to me a little bit about what your process is for how you start to break down a problem or a process that you want to see.
Well, so that's a really good kind of question. And so I like to think about here, let me pull this up because this will be helpful to your viewers. So oftentimes when we need to think differently, whoever is the boss says, our backs are to the wall. We need to think out of the box. And then they give everybody a blank sheet of paper and say, does anybody have a brilliant idea? It's as though we can turn on that part of our brain that is hiding brilliant ideas, just because somebody asks. So I changed the script, and where you are is a great place, but I tell people we're actually not going to start in a meeting room. We're actually going to get out in the world and engage the world head on, and either go to a city filled with lots of energy or a place in nature filled with a lot of amazing things. And I ask people to take a blank sheet of paper, but instead of asking them to solve their problem, I say, I'd just like you to write down everything you see today that strikes you as being remarkable. And then we're going to sort through what makes them remarkable. And then we're going to take some of those ideas about what's remarkable and we're going to use those as the starting point, this 99% rule, the starting point for thinking brilliantly about what we need to do. So think about, I think about also technology all the time. So I think about AI and all these technologies that can help us. So I simply say, find a problem other people have wrestled with. Think about what would be remarkable. Then say to yourself, is there a technology that allows me to be even more amazing? I mean, a great example, everyone listening probably uses Uber now. They use it for a ride or they use it to get a meal. Maybe not where you're located. It'd be hard to get an Uber driver, but they use Uber. Uber wasn't started by people who understood the taxi cab business. Uber was started by people who knew taxi cabs weren't perfect. They couldn't find a cab when they were on a trip in Paris. And they also knew that GPS or GIS technology existed now. And what if I could take that technology and take someone with a car and pair them up with somebody who wanted a ride? That would be like a revolution. Well, AI and all these technologies allow us to do it. But as humans, we need to pay attention and say, whoa, I can get out there and connect the dots. So a long-winded answer is, faced with a challenge, just get out there. Get out there and see what's going on. Get out there and see what technologies are being used, what people are doing differently, what marketplace changes are occurring. And then think about how in that world, I can put things together that people haven't put together before.
Yeah, and I like what you're talking about in terms of getting inspiration from that which already exists, either the beauty of the city or the beauty of nature, and then using that inspiration then to start to be generative.
Well, exactly. So, the trouble, and there's another reason it's really good. If we sit in a room and try and solve a problem, what we have is a reliance on what we already know, right? So we work in a company, we're experts, we think we know a lot about it. And my new book, The Wisdom of Ignorance, is really about the simple notion that if I know a lot, I can make things better. If I don't know much and I'm open-minded, I get out there, I can create a breakthrough. And so I don't want people to get stuck in what they know. I want to respect what they know, but I don't want them to be wedded to it. I want them to say, it's a big world filled with lots of ideas. If I can bring some of those ideas together, I can do something really valuable.
Yeah, it reminds me of that cone about the teacup, and you keep pouring water into the teacup, and it overflows, and there's no more room in there, right? If you have a certainty that you already know everything, then there's no room to be able to observe and come up with new ideas.
Well, and then I'm going to say, of course, we're doing okay. And most of the people listening are going to say in the organization they're in, they're doing okay right now. And they say their customers love them, and their customers might love them today and next Monday. Your customers only love you because they haven't found anything better yet. You only pick a place to go that you're familiar with because somebody hasn't suggested, well, have you been to Banff or wherever, because it's even more amazing there. And so our customers love us, but if somebody else offered more value, they use technology, they figured out a new way to use AI to unlock greater value, make customers more successful. Our customers, and I realize I look like a movie star, but my customers would drop me in a heartbeat, if somebody offered them something better. So we always have to be looking out for what's better and looking out for ways we can create combinations that make our customers more successful.
Yeah. So, what are some of the ways that you recommend connecting with customers to get that information?
Well, so here's the thing. Most companies, when they're trying to be better, they may say, well, I had a few conversations with customers, or I got some notes or emails. The customers want this. Why wouldn't we include customers in the design of what we do and the thinking about what we do, whether it's a product or service? It used to be an era where we would sit somewhere away from customers and come up with something like the perfect cordless vacuum cleaner. And I use that example because Dyson, who came up with this amazing $2,000 vacuum cleaner, he relays proudly that they made 5,000 changes to the vacuum cleaner before they ever put it out in the marketplace. Today, if you have an idea for a better vacuum cleaner, just make one that does an okay job, share it with customers, ask them to be part of thinking about how to make it better, ask them what they'd like to be better, and then go back to the drawing board and tweak it. We live in an era where if we don't get something out quickly, it becomes obsolete. So why not quickly involve the folks who are going to use what we do? I like to say, all you need to be brilliant today is some artisan pizza, a premium IPA, and a few friends who are willing to wander around and be creative with you. Come up with an idea, throw it out there. If customers don't like it, come up with another idea. But the reality is, get ideas out faster and ask customers what they think. Another thing I'd love people to think about is, think about your new, we tend to think we have to pay our dues in organizations. Like whenever they're trying to be brilliant, they take the people who've been there a long time who are expert. I would involve some of the people who've just arrived. I would say, hey, you're new, but you actually have been somewhere else in the world. Any ideas for us on how to be awesome? And be open to that. But most companies aren't. Most companies say, just go and do the stuff in your inbox and we'll talk to you once you're smart enough. And my view is the smartest they are is the day they arrive.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of a funny story where I was hired into a company to be a change agent, and they said, "Don't make any changes for 90 days." And then on day 120, they fired me
Oh,
because I didn't get
no.
anything done.
Okay, good. Okay, well, you've proved the point there. So if you're a young
Yes,
person
exactly.
watching, you want to go to a place where they actually value your ideas the day you arrive. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so this is your fourth book that you've published and promoted.
Right.
Is that correct? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about what you're experiencing in terms of marketing your book and what the landscape looks like, maybe what the AI that you're using or not using, or what does that landscape look like for you
Okay,
right now?
good. So I have to be honest, I didn't use AI to write the book. The book is all things that came out of me wandering around the world trying to think about stuff.
We know who to blame that way,
Well,
Alan.
yeah, and if people want to, I even read the audiobook because I just didn't want somebody else to kind of go through the motions of reading my ideas. But having said that, so the wisdom of ignorance um, is based on my thinking, but the marketing is significantly driven by AI. Okay. So we live in an era where how do you get the word out? Social media, podcasts, those are the main ways. Traditional media really doesn't get the word out to the extent you can find a newspaper today that actually cares about authors and books. But having said that, I regularly go on AI because I have an idea of customer sets that would be valuable, industries that would find my ideas valuable, organizations that would, places I'd like to go. I see you go to a lot of places you'd like to go. I have a list of places I'd love to speak. because they're places I haven't been to. So I use AI, and I use mostly ChatGPT and Claude AI. Those are probably my two most comfortable ones. I'm most familiar with how to write a good prompt for those folks. And I say to them, this is what I'm trying to do. Or I say to them, this is an idea I have. Where do you think it might resonate? Are there particular industries that have this particular challenge? And so I try to get smart. Then I use AI to get smart about those industries. So I ask it, tell me the four most significant issues this industry is facing. And so here, within like a few seconds, it says, interesting question, Alan. It would take you forever to figure it out, but here are our thoughts about doing it. I now have this. Now, let me tell you another thing I do that's kind of odd. And that is, I find out these four things. I then use AI and LinkedIn to find people who are leaders in that industry. I send them a message. The message, of course, starts out by saying, I read about you. I'm impressed with what you're doing for the following reasons. I also know that there are these issues in your industry. I just wrote a one pager on how to think about these issues. Can I share it with you? There, I've used AI. I mean, I've put my own voice, but I've used AI to make me smarter. I've used AI to find the people that I want to connect with. I then, as a human, of course, reach out to them. I send them what I call a me mail, because the first few lines are, they're awesome. I don't send them an email because nobody needs another email. And then I offer them something of value. And that value is 5 things you didn't understand about how to remain relevant in a fast changing world, something related to their industry. And I send it off. All throughout the process, I have AI open on my computer because maybe it's going to make me a little bit smarter.
No, I think that right there is a masterclass of prospecting, and I love the way that you circle around that. I have a similar process in my outreach into LinkedIn. I find a referral partner, public relations, right? And I actually go and I do search public relations in Denver, Colorado, and I find somebody, and I look and I read about their posts, and I send them. I like that email. I like that. I'm gonna borrow that one as well.
Okay, good. No, I like what you're doing. Is it a little bit windy where you are?
It is just a touch windy.
Okay.
Yeah, try not to destroy the audio here. So let me know just a couple of key principles from the book, and what you're hoping that people will get out of
Okay, good.
The wisdom of ignorance.
Yeah. No, and I'd like people to think about, so the book provides really kind of what I think of as a formula for how to remain relevant in a fast changing world. And I want people to start with a few things, and I won't get, the formula has kind of 6 key things. I'd love people to think about all of them, but let me just share a couple. The first is, and this is based on a lot of time spent working with companies to be remarkable. The first is, in the absence of a clear purpose, you're never going to do anything amazing. Now, you may randomly hit on something, but find a problem or an opportunity you want to solve and be doggedly determined to figure out how to solve it. Now, I talk about the wisdom of ignorance because be doggedly determined to think in new ways and find the best information. And that's one of the places AI will help you getting started. But be purposeful. We often think about innovation like many of your viewers have seen a suggestion box at their company, or they go someplace and they go to a convention center and says, you have any suggestions for us on how to be better? Or you take an airline, they have a suggestion box. Give me a little bit of focus. Innovation happens when we're focused, when we have a specific problem, and that problem drives us to be brilliant. The second thing then is be curious. And when I say curious, I want everybody to get up from where they work and pay attention to the world around them. Cast a wide net. Look at other companies and other industries. Look at nature. Look at other cultures. Look at the ways that people have thought about things throughout history, but cast a wider net and be open to the possibility that there's a spark of an idea already out there. You just have to go and find it. Part of that means I got to get up from my desk. So you're a role model for that, but I got to get up from my desk because as I sit in my office or my factory or wherever I am, the world is changing right outside my door. And I don't often lift my head up to see it. And people say, well, you can't predict the future. I can pay attention to the clues passing by me and get a rough idea where the future is going. I can see the driverless Waymo car in the street and know something is going on there. I can see people checking into an Airbnb and know that the world of hospitality has been upended. I can do lots of things, but if I don't get up and pay attention, I'm not going to do that. Then, of course, I need to be humble, right? I need to admit that I don't know everything. And if there's anybody that knows everything, please drop me a note. I'd love to talk with you. That would be awesome. So humility is awesome if I'm purposeful, because humility says, I don't know enough, but I want to know the answer to this. I want to figure something out. And that's where I said at the outset, breakthroughs occur when people who aren't wedded to a way of doing things decide to look at a purpose with fresh eyes.
All right, Alan. Well, I hope that I have an event around the East Coast that I can invite you to, so that I can sit down and have dinner, because I'd love to have a deeper conversation.
Well, thank you for letting me be on your show. I'd like to be where you are today, and I hope we stay connected. And I hope anyone who's listening, whether they're listening now or they download later, please reach out to me. Don't just follow me on LinkedIn. Connect with me. I'd actually like to meet you. And if I can be helpful in any way in sharing ideas, I'd love to do that.
The Wisdom of Ignorance is on Amazon and other places? Or
it comes out October 14th. It can be pre-ordered on Amazon today. And if people wait another week or two, they can get the audio version and hear me for longer, unless they're tired of me already. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm very grateful to have had this conversation. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
And I hope you have an amazing day. Get up from your desk and go get inspired, Alan.
Okay, super. Thanks. I'm getting up now.
Okay, thanks. Okay, let's talk to you soon. Well, if you only have one takeaway from our conversation today, is be curious. Understand that you don't know everything, and ask a lot of questions, and notice, observe, and assess, and take some time to get out of your head down, butt up, and look around. So I love what Alan Gregerman had to say there. I'm excited to take a look at the book when it comes out later this month, and I hope you do as well. I also hope that you take some time to work with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and that you figure out how you can prompt it to get functional work out of it, and find and prospect for solutions that you need, either clients or new products or inspiration. I also hope that you find some tools that allow you to get some of your work week back, and that you get a few hours that you can free up for continued upskilling, that you can spend with your friends or family, and you can get outside in nature and get away from the screens. My name is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn.